Sure, Wyatt said, but his mind was elsewhere. A commotion broke out near the showroom, a man's voice, raised, edged with desperation. Wyatt turned, his pulse quickening. The voice wasn't just angry. It was breaking, carrying the weight of a life on the line. Evan's sales pitch faded, the lot shine dimming. Whatever was unfolding inside wasn't a glitch. It was the truth Wyatt had come to find, and he wouldn't look away. The showroom of Brennan's trucks was a cathedral of glass and chrome, its air-conditioned hum a stark contrast to the desert. Heat outside. Wyatt Brennan, still playing Nate Sullivan, followed Evan Walsh to a desk cluttered with brochures and coffee stains. The Ford 250's paperwork lay before him, its base price creeping past $37,000 with a mandatory protection plan and vague processing fees. Evan's hands twitched as he typed, his earlier confidence fraying under Wyatt's probing questions. What's this fee? Is that standard? But Wyatt's attention split, drawn to the raised voice at the next desk, where a man stood, his weathered hands clutching crumpled papers. Luke Carver was 47, his delivery company polo faded, his eyes shadowed from long routes and longer worries. His stack of documents, ads, quotes, a budget trembled as he faced Vince Harper, whose suit gleamed as sharply as his smile. Luke's voice cracked, raw with disbelief. This isn't right. Your ad said $32,000 total. I've got the flyer. The email's your guy Caleb promised. Vince leaned back, fingers steepled, his tone smooth but cold. Caleb's gone, Mr. Carver, and ads don't include fees, market adjustments, extended warranty, service package. It's all here. He slid a contract across, its fine print dense, its date stamp fresh. Totals $35,000. You signed. The prelim. Luke's face drained. That's our savings, every dime for my daughter's college. I told Caleb. We planned it down to the dollar. My truck's dying. I need this for work. Wyatt, feigning interest in his own forms, activated. His phone's recorder, its mic hidden in his pocket. Vince's smile didn't waver, but his eyes were predatory, like a hawk circling a wounded animal. I sympathize, he said, tapping the contract. But contracts are binding. You can pay the $3,000 by Friday, or we cancel and per the clause. Your $5,000 deposit's non-refundable. Luke's voice broke, a whisper now. That's robbery. I'll call Brennan himself. Vince chuckled, adjusting his cufflinks. Wyatt Brennan's off building empires. Complaints go through. Me, and trust me, they don't go far. Read the fine print next time. Wyatt's blood boiled, Frank's face flashing his father, cheated by a slick dealer decades ago, vowing never to let it happen under his roof. Luke's despair mirrored that memory, each word a betrayal of Brennan's trucks. A photo slipped. From Luke's papers, a girl in a cap and gown, grinning at a birthday cake. Wyatt's chest tightened. Luke wasn't just a customer. He was a father, fighting for his kid's future, and Vince was stealing it. Evan shifted, uneasy. Nate, about your fees, hold on, Wyatt said, voice low. Eyes on Luke. Want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Luke gathered. His papers, shoulders slumped, defeat carving lines deeper into his face. I'll find a way, he muttered, trudging toward the exit. Vince watched, satisfaction oozing, then returned to his office, a king in his glass castle. Wyatt's fingers curled, his disguise a cage he itched to shed. He could stop this now, reveal himself, save Luke, but instinct held him back. Vince's arrogance, Evan's nerves, the contract's fresh ink, they pointed to a system, not a single scam. To fix this, he needed proof, ironclad and deep. Everything okay, Nate? Evan asked, voice tight. Wyatt forced a nod, pocketing his phone. Just thinking. Let's see that breakdown again. As Evan typed, Wyatt's mind raced. Luke's broken voice, a call to arms. Frank's mantra, honesty is the foundation, wasn't just words. It was a promise, one Wyatt had let slip. The showroom's gleam felt hollow, its awards mocking. Whatever lay beneath Vince's smile, Wyatt would drag it into the light, for Luke, for Frank, for every customer who'd trusted Brennan's name. The showroom of Brennan's trucks buzzed with artificial cheer, its glass walls reflecting the late morning sun. But Wyatt Brennan felt a chill that had nothing to do with the air conditioning. As Nate Sullivan, he sat at Evan Walsh's desk. The Ford F-250's paperwork, a maze of vague fees, market adjustments, PREMIUM service plans, a protection package tacked on like an afterthought. Evan's pitch had faltered under Wyatt's questions, his eyes darting to Vince Harper's office, where the sales manager's silhouette loomed behind tinted glass. Luke Carver's broken voice, "That's our savings," echoed in Wyatt's mind, a wound that sharpened his focus. This wasn't one bad deal. It was a system, and Wyatt was determined to map its veins. He leaned forward, keeping his tone casual. "Evan, these fees protection plan, processing, gonna hit me like they did that other guy?" Evan's fingers froze on the keyboard, his Adam's apple bobbing. He glanced around, the showroom's hum masking their words, then leaned in, voice barely above a whisper. "Look, Nate, I shouldn't say this, but it's how things work here. Vince Mr. Harper has a process. We quote low to hook you, get you dreaming of the truck. Then, the fees come in at signing. If we don't play along, we're stuck. With dead shifts, no customers, no commission." Wyatt's pulse quickened, his phone's recorder humming in his pocket. "So, Vince calls the shots? Everyone follows?" Evan nodded, misery etching his young face. "Some tried to fight it, Caleb. Reed, good guy, always up front. Vince canned him, said he wasn't a team player. Now we either do it or—" He trailed off, eyes flicking to Vince's office. Wyatt's jaw tightened, Frank Brennan's voice in his ear. "A business is only as good as the people you trust." Vince wasn't just a bad apple. He was cultivating an orchard of deceit. Wyatt glimpsed a young couple at another desk, their salesman glossing over a contract's fine print, their smiles fading as numbers climbed. The pattern was clear lure, trap, profit. Luke's despair wasn't an accident. It was policy. "Sounds rough," Wyatt said, playing Nate's concern. "No way around it?" Evan shrugged, defeated. "Not unless you're Vince's favorite. I got rent, man. Gotta eat." Wyatt nodded, hiding his anger. Even wasn't the villain he was caught, like Luke in Vince's web. But sympathy didn't erase responsibility. Wyatt needed more names, deals, proof that would hold up when he tore the web apart. He scanned the showroom. Emma Torres, the receptionist, hovered near the coffee station, her headset off, her eyes wary as Vince's voice crackled through. Another salesman laughed too loudly, steering a retiree toward a special deal. Every smile felt like a mask, and Wyatt's disguise felt heavier by the second. "Let's keep going," Wyatt said, tapping the paperwork. "But I want to understand every dollar." Evan swallowed, relief and dread mixing. As he pulled up the forms, Wyatt's gaze lingered on Vince's office, the kingpin's shadow moving. Luke's crumpled photo, his daughter's graduation burned in Wyatt's memory. This wasn't just about saving Brennan's trucks. It was about saving trust for every family who'd walked through those doors. Wyatt Brennan's boots echoed softly as he wandered the showroom under the guise of needing a break, his Nate Sullivan persona intact. The restroom excuse gave him freedom to roam, his eyes sharp despite the slouch in his step. Brennan's trucks gleamed polished floors, gleaming awards, a facade of excellence, but Wyatt saw cracks, hurried signatures, tense whispers. Customers furrowed brows as they scanned contracts. Evan Walsh's confession had cracked the surface, revealing Vince Harper's system, but Wyatt needed more to dismantle it. Luke Carver's defeat, Frank Brennan's legacy. They demanded action, not just anger. At the coffee station, Wyatt lingered, nodding to Emma Torres, whose smile was warm but fleeting. Her headset dangled, her fingers twisting a napkin. "Long day?" Wyatt asked. Nate's drawl easy. Emma hesitated, glancing at Vince's office. "Always," she said, voice low. "Lots of pressure." Wyatt sipped his coffee, probing gently. "Heard a guy got rough news earlier. Fees or something. That normal?" Her eyes flickered, a mix of fear and frustration. "It's how things go. I tried telling someone once about the fees. Vince said it wasn't my place. Said I'd lose my job if I pushed." Wyatt's grip tightened on his cup. Frank's mantra, honesty is the foundation, clashing with Emma's fear. "Sounds like a guy named Caleb got the same treatment," he said, testing. Emma nodded, barely audible. "Caleb was good honest. Vince ran him out. Nobody fights the system long." Wyatt's recorder caught every word, but his heart sank. Emma, like Evan, was trapped, their livelihoods tethered to Vince's threats. He moved on, pausing near the finance office, where two employees chuckled over a smooth close, a customer who'd signed without noticing a $2,000 market fee. Wyatt's stomach churned. The awards on the wall, community excellence, mocked every laugh. A young farmer at a nearby desk caught his eye, his voice rising. "State regulation? Nobody said that when I called." His salesman shrugged, echoing Vince's script. Wyatt's phone hummed, capturing the lie. Each snippet, Emma's fear, the farmer's confusion, Evan's guilt, was a brick in the case he was building, but it wasn't enough. Vince's system was slick, its tracks covered by fine print and fear. "I find print and fear." Wyatt needed the kingpin's own words, a confession that would burn the web to ash. He returned to Evan's desk, his resolve steel. "All right, let's talk numbers," he said, Nate's tone steady. "But I'm not signing till I know everything." Evans' shoulders slumped, caught between relief and dread. As he pulled up the contract, Wyatt's mind raced. Luke's daughter's photo a silent spur. The truth was close, but every step tightened the noose on Vince, on the system, on Wyatt's own failure to see it sooner. The afternoon sun slanted through Brennan's truck showroom, casting long shadows across polished floors, but Wyatt Brennan's focus was razor-sharp. As Nate Sullivan, he sat across from Vince Harper in the sales manager's office. Its dark wood and leather, a stage for Vince's calculated charm. The Ford F-250's contract lay between them. Its fees, $2,500 in add-ons, spelled out in ink that felt like blood after Luke Carver's ordeal. Evan Walsh had escorted Wyatt here, his face pale, as if sensing the storm brewing. Wyatt's phone, hidden in his flannels pocket, recorded every word. Its hum a lifeline to justice. Vince leaned back, his smile a blade. "Nate, you seem cautious. Smart man. Those fees bothering you?" Wyatt played Nate's concern, rough but curious. "Yeah, saw what happened with that delivery guy Luke, was it? Fees came out of nowhere. Same deal for me?" Vince chuckled, a sound cold as the desert night. "You're sharp, Nate. Most don't notice till it's too late." He stood, pacing to the window, the lot's trucks gleaming under his gaze. "This business isn't about trucks, it's about dreams. Power, status, the open road. People think they're buying steel, but we sell what they want to feel." Wyatt's recorder whirred, his anger simmering. "So those fees, they're not exactly standard?" Vince turned, eyes glinting, mistaking Nate for a mark he could sway. "Let's be real," he said, voice low, conspiratorial. "Wyatt Brennan's off chasing new lots, counting profits. He doesn't care how we hit. Numbers, long as they climb. My system? Quote low. Hook 'em. Then add the fees, market, warranty, whatever. By signing, they're in too deep to back out. Pride keeps him quiet. Nobody admits they got played. Wyatt's fingers dug into his palms, Frank's face flashing. His father cheated, vowing to build better. And Brennan's fine with this? He asked. Pushing. Vince laughed, settling on the desk's edge. Brennan's a dreamer, stuck in his dad's fairy tale days of honest deals. I've buried complaints so deep, they'd need a shovel to find him. Kickbacks from these fees? I make more than he does, and he's too blind to see it. Wyatt's pulse roared, every word a nail in Vince's coffin. Nobody rats you out? Customers? Staff? Vince smirked, arrogance unmasked. Staffs. Too scared lose hours, lose jobs. Customers? Too desperate or embarrassed. It's perfect, Nate. Want in? Skip the protection fee. Cash under the table. Call it an investment. Wyatt forced a nod, his disgust cloaked. Sounds tight. Everyone plays along? The smart ones, Vince said, leaning closer. Rest get pushed out like Caleb. Reed tried to squeal, got nowhere. Survival of the fittest. The recorder caught it all fraud, bribery, a system built on fear. Wyatt had enough to end Vince, but he wanted the confrontation public, a lesson for every employee who'd followed or fought the system. Let's finish the papers, he said, voice steady. But I want to talk to you again before I sign. Vince grinned, oblivious. Smart man, Evan will set it up. As Wyatt left the office, the showroom's hum felt distant. Luke's crumpled. Photo of fire in his chest. Vince's confession was the key, but the lock was the whole dealership. Every deal, every lie, every trust betrayed. Wyatt's disguise was a weapon now, and he'd wield it to cut the rot clean. The showroom of Brennan's trucks pulsed with late afternoon energy, its glass walls catching the desert sun's dying glow, but the air inside crackled with an unseen storm. Wyatt Brennan, still cloaked as Nate Sullivan, sat across from Vince. Harper in the sales manager's sleek office. The Ford of 250s contract between them, a trap baited with fees and lies. Vince's recorded confession, Brennan's too blind to see it, burned in Wyatt's pocket, hours of damning evidence. Captured on his phone. Luke Carver's defeated slump, Evan Walsh's whispered guilt, Emma Torres's fear, they fueled Wyatt's resolve. This wasn't just a takedown. It was a reckoning, and he'd make it echo. Vince leaned forward, his smile a polished blade. So, Nate, ready to sign? I can shave off that protection fee cash deal, like we discussed. Wyatt's heart pounded, Frank Brennan's voice steadying him. Honesty is the foundation. He rose, shedding Nate's slouch, his voice dropping to its natural timbre, sharp and unyielding. Actually, Vince, I think we need to discuss your employment status. Vince blinked, confusion flickering. Wyatt removed his baseball cap, standing tall, his stubble and flannel no longer hiding the man who'd built this empire. I'm Wyatt Brennan, he said, eyes locked on Vince's. And you're fired. The color drained from Vince's face, his polished facade crumbling like dry sand. Mr. Brennan, he stammered, lurching back, knocking pens off his desk. I can explain. Can you? Wyatt cut in, steel in his voice. He pressed play on his phone, and Vince's words filled the office. My system. Fees at. Signing kickbacks make more than Brennan. Vince's eyes widened, horror dawning as his own arrogance betrayed him. He lunged for his computer, fingers clawing for the keyboard. Touch it, and I add destruction of evidence to your charges, Wyatt snapped, stepping closer. He hit the intercom, his voice booming through the showroom. All staff to the floor. Now, emergency meeting, no exceptions. The showroom froze, customers pausing, salesmen exchanging glances. Evan Walsh hovered near his desk, pale but alert, while Emma Torres slipped off her headset, hope flickering in her eyes. Vince stood rigid, sweat beading, as staff poured in, a sea of confused faces, some never having seen Wyatt in person. The Lot's trucks gleamed outside, silent witnesses to the truth unfolding. Wyatt stepped into the crowd, phone raised. "I'm Wyatt Brennan, your owner," he said, voice carrying. "Today, I learned how my dealership's been run, not by trust, but by deceit." He played Vince's confession, gasps rippling as staff heard. Customers too desperate. Staff too scared. Evan's head bowed, Emma's hands trembled, and Vince shrank, his cufflinks glinting uselessly. "This ends now," Wyatt said, turning to Vince, who edged toward the exit. "You built a system to cheat hit complaints, pushed out honest folks like Caleb Reed, led families like Luke Carver dry. Would you care to explain?" Vince's voice cracked. "You can't prove it's not just my word. I've got hours of recordings," Wyatt said, holding up his phone, "and a digital trail IT's already pulling. Altered contracts, fake fees, your kickbacks. It's over." Staff murmured, some ashamed, others angry. Wyatt's gaze swept them. "If you played along, step forward now. Document your role, and we'll talk. Hide, and you're gone, maybe." To court, silence broke, a few stepping up, heads low. Vince's empire crumbled, and Wyatt felt Frank's nod. "Do what's right, son." The showdown wasn't just justice, it was a line in the sand, and Brennan's trucks would stand on the right side. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting Brennan's trucks in a twilight glow, but Wyatt Brennan felt no calm. The showroom, still reeling from Vince Harper's exposure, hummed with nervous energy, staff whispering, customers lingering, the air thick with change. Wyatt stood by the receptionist's desk, his phone now with IT, its recordings a blueprint to unravel Vince's scams. Vince was gone, escorted out by security, his office sealed, but the real work loomed, repairing the damage, starting with Luke Carver, whose crumpled photo, his daughter's graduation, haunted Wyatt's resolve. Luke returned an hour later, his delivery polo wrinkled, his eyes hollow with desperation. He clutched his contract, the $5,000 deposit a noose Vince had tightened. "I heard there was a meeting," Luke said, voice low, spotting Wyatt. "They said the owner's here. I need my deposit back, please." Wyatt stepped forward, shedding. "Meet Shadow. Mr. Carver, I'm Wyatt Brennan. I saw what happened today, and I'm sorry. We failed you." Luke blinked, wary. "You're Brennan? You were there?" Wyatt nodded, guilt sharp. "I was undercover, checking things out. Vince's system fees, threats wasn't a mistake. It was a plan. But it's done, and you're getting your truck at the $32,000. You were quoted, no extra fees. Your deposit's safe." Luke's shoulders sagged, relief breaking through. "My daughter, her tuition, I thought we'd lost it all." "You didn't," Wyatt said, voice firm. "And we'll refund any overcharges with interest. This is on us, Luke, not you." Luke's eyes misted, his voice barely a whisper. "Thank you. I didn't know who to trust anymore." Wyatt clasped his shoulder. Frank's mantra, honesty, is the foundation guiding him. "You can trust us. Now, I promise." He turned to Emma Torres, who lingered nearby, her headset off, hope in her gaze. "Emma, get Luke's file to the finance team. New contract, clean, tonight." Emma nodded, a spark of pride replacing her fear. "Yes, sir." Wyatt addressed the staff, some still processing Vince's fall. "All pending sales are frozen," he said. "Every contract from the last 6 months gets reviewed. If we overcharged, we refund. If we lied, we own it. This isn't just policy, it's who we are." Evan Walsh approached, hesitant. "Mr. Brennan, I followed Vince's rules. I'm sorry." Wyatt met his eyes, seeing regret, not malice. "Tell me everything, Evan. Help us fix this, and you've got a chance." Evan nodded, relief flickering. Wyatt's gaze drifted to the lot, the truck silent under dusk. Luke's gratitude was a start, but hundreds of customers deserved the same. Frank's legacy demanded it, and Wyatt wouldn't stop until every wrong was righted. The next morning, Brennan's trucks felt different, its showroom quieter, as if holding its breath. Wyatt Brennan had moved his desk to the floor, a folding table amid the sales desks, his presence a signal. No more shadows. Vince Harper's office stood empty, its files with IT, his system unraveling in spreadsheets and confessions. Wyatt sipped coffee, reviewing Luke Carver's new contract, $32,000. Clean when Emma Torres approached, a stack of customer files in hand. "These are from the last quarter," she said, voice steadier. "Some look off. Fees like Vince's." Wyatt nodded, Frank's voice grounding him. "Fix what's broken, son." "Good work, Emma. Flag anything suspicious. We're calling every customer." He'd spent the night drafting reforms. Transparent pricing, no mandatory add-ons, a new slogan: clarity, honesty, trust to replace the hollow awards on the wall. But words weren't enough. Wyatt called Evan Walsh over, the young salesman's face a mix of shame and hope. "Evan, you knew Vince's game," Wyatt said, direct but not harsh. "I'm starting a customer advocacy team to catch what we missed. You in?" Evan's eyes widened, then firmed. "Yes, sir. I want to make this right." "Good," Wyatt sighed, clapping his shoulder. "Start with these files. Find who got hurt." Evan dove in, his guilt channeling into purpose. Wyatt turned to his laptop, drafting an email to Caleb Reed, the salesman Vince had ousted for honesty. "Caleb, it's Wyatt Brennan. We need you back, sales trainer. Ethical practices. Name your terms." Caleb's firing had been a wound. His return would be a stitch in the healing. Outside, a crew installed digital displays, real-time pricing, every fee explained, no fine print. Wyatt watched, the lot's trucks gleaming not just with chrome but with promise. A customer approached, hesitant, mentioning fees from last month. Wyatt listened, took her name, and promised a review. "No surprises," he told her, meaning it. Emma returned, a spark in her eyes. "Luke Carver called. He's picking up his truck today, says. His daughter's thrilled." Wyatt smiled, Luke's gratitude a spark in the dark. But the dark lingered, hundreds of files, countless wrongs. He'd frozen sales, risking profits, but Frank's lesson held. Trust is worth more than gold. The displays flickered on, clarity, honesty, trust glowing bold. Brennan's trucks wasn't fixed, but it was starting, and Wyatt would see it through for Luke, for Frank, for every name in those files. The showroom of Brennan's trucks shimmered under fluorescent lights, its glass walls now framing a different kind of promise. Wyatt Brennan stood at his folding desk on the floor, a stack of customer files beside him, each a story of trust. Betrayed under Vince Harper's reign. The digital pricing displays glowed overhead, clarity, honesty, trust etched in bold. Every fee laid bare, no fine print to hide behind. A week had passed since Vince's ousting, and the dealership hummed. With cautious hope, its pulse quickening as Wyatt rebuilt what he'd nearly lost. Frank Brennan's mantra, honesty, is the foundation guided every call he made. Every contract he reviewed. Wyatt spent mornings on the phone, his voice steady but apologetic, contacting customers overcharged in the past 6 months. "Mrs. Larson, this is Wyatt Brennan. We added a $2,000 fee to your deal last March, our mistake. You're getting a full refund, plus interest." Some cried, others raged, but all heard his promise. "We'll make it right." The conference room became a hub, customers streaming in to review contracts, their relief palpable as refunds processed. Luke Carver's gratitude. "You saved my family," echoed in Wyatt's mind, a beacon through the grind. Emma Torres approached, her clipboard heavy with flagged files. "Another batch, Mr. Brennan," she said, her voice firm, no longer shadowed by Vince's threats. "Mostly service packages, slipped in last minute." "Good eye, Emma," Wyatt said, nodding. "You're running point on customer outreach. Now, hire who you need." Emma's smile broke through, pride replacing fear. "Thank you, sir. I won't let you down." Wyatt turned to Evan Walsh, who'd spent days combing records for Vince's scams. Evan's guilt had morphed into drive, his desk a fortress of notes and spreadsheets. "Evan, any leads on that batch of trade-in undervaluations?" Evan looked up, weary but resolute. "Found 10 so far. Customers got shorted $1,000 to $3,000 each. I'm drafting letters." Wyatt clapped his shoulder. "Keep it up. You're making a difference." The showroom buzzed, staff adjusting to the new rhythm. Caleb Reed's return loomed, his acceptance email a spark. "I'm in, Wyatt. Let's bring Frank's way back." Wyatt had tasked Caleb with training, set to start tomorrow, teaching sales rooted in trust, not traps. A customer, an older man with a farmer's calloused hands, approached Wyatt's desk. "I heard you're fixing things," he said, hesitant. "My deal last year fees didn't add up." Wyatt listened, took his name, and promised a review. "No surprises," he said, meaning it. The man left with a nod, trust flickering. Outside, the lot's trucks gleamed, no longer predators but partners, their price tags clear on the displays. Wyatt felt Frank's nod. "This is the way, son." But the work was just beginning. Hundreds of calls, thousands of dollars, a reputation to rebuild. Brennan's Trucks was breathing again, and Wyatt would keep its heart true. 3 weeks later, Brennan's Trucks stood as a beacon of change, its showroom a hive of honest deals and second chances. Wyatt Brennan walked the floor, greeting customers, his desk a fixture among the sales team. The digital display's clarity, honesty, trust drew eyes, their transparency disarming skeptics. Caleb Reed had arrived, his training sessions packing the break room, his voice steady as he taught. "Sell solutions, not schemes. A customer's trust is your commission." Evan Walsh, now heading customer advocacy, fielded calls from wronged buyers, his apologies backed by checks. Emma Torres led outreach, her team mailing refund offers, her warmth rebuilding bridges. But not all welcomed the change. Apex Autos, a rival dealership, launched a social media jab. "Brennan's honesty is a PR stunt. Same trucks, new tricks." The post went viral, sowing doubt. A local news blog picked it up, quoting an anonymous insider claiming Wyatt's reforms were temporary. Some customers hesitated, their questions sharper. Is this real or just talk? Wyatt's team felt the sting, Emma's smile tightening, Evan's shoulders hunching under the scrutiny. Wyatt called a staff meeting, his voice calm but fierce. "They want us to fail," he said, facing the team. "Apex thrives on gains hidden. Fees, pressure sales. We're different, and we'll prove it with actions, not words." Caleb nodded, adding, "Every honest deal buries their lies. Keep it clean, keep it real." Wyatt announced an open house, inviting the community to see the new Brennan's Trucks no-pressure tours, live pricing demos. Caleb leading Q and Assess. "Let them see who we are," Wyatt said. "No secrets." The event packed the lot, families browsing, reporters scribbling. Caleb walked a couple through a contract, every cost explained, their nods growing confident. Evan shared Luke Carver's story minus names to a local TV crew, his voice steady. "We messed up. Now we're fixing it, one customer at a time." Emma handed out flyers, her team answering questions with warmth, not scripts. A skeptic, goaded by Apex's post, challenged Wyatt. "How do I know this isn't a show?" Wyatt met his gaze. "Come back tomorrow, next week, next year. Our prices stay clear. Our word stays true. Test us." The man left, skepticism softened. The news ran a glowing piece, Brennan's trucks. A new standard and Apex's jab faded, drowned by word-of-mouth praise. Customers returned, drawn by honesty, not hype. Wyatt watched, Frank's lesson clear. Trust is earned, not bought. The open house wasn't a finish line, but a milestone, and Wyatt felt the dealership's pulse strengthen, ready for the next step. The Arizona sun rose over Brennan's trucks, its lot a gleaming testament to a year of redemption. The showroom, once a stage for Vince Harper's deceit, now pulsed with purpose, its digital displays clarity, honesty, trust a beacon for customers seeking more than a deal. Wyatt Brennan stood at his desk on the floor, no longer a folding table, but a sturdy oak fixture, surrounded by sales staff who greeted him not as a boss, but as a partner. The air carried coffee and chatter, the lot's trucks shining not just with chrome, but with promises kept. Frank Brennan's legacy honesty is the foundation, breathed in every handshake, every contract, every smile. Wyatt flipped through a report. Refunds completed for 327 overcharged customers. $1.2 million returned. Trust restored one call at a time. Evan Walsh, now Director of Customer Advocacy, had led the charge, his once guilty eyes bright with purpose as he trained staff to spot scams before they started. Emma Torres, Head of Community Outreach, had turned the dealership into a hub, her team hosting job fairs and vet drives, her warmth a bridge to those Vince had burned. Caleb Reed's ethical sales training was gospel, his classes packed with hires eager to sell relationships, not tricks. Luke Carver arrived, his delivery polo crisp, his daughter Ellie beside him, her nursing textbooks tucked under her arm. The Ellie Carver scholarship had funded her first semester, and Luke's grin was brighter than the desert sun. "Mr. Brennan," he said, shaking Wyatt's hand, "Ellie's thriving. That scholarship, it's more than money. It's hope." Wyatt clasped his shoulder, voice warm. "You gave me a reason, Luke. You and Ellie reminded me why we're here." Ellie hugged him, shy but earnest. "I'm gonna help people like you helped us." The showroom hummed, customers browsing without pressure, staff like Evan and Emma moving with confidence. Caleb approached, a new hire trailing him. "Wyatt, this kid's got Frank's spark listens cares. We're building something real." Wyatt nodded, Frank's voice in his ear. "Take care of your people." A local business group had invited him to speak, eager for his story. Undercover owner cleans house, but Wyatt cared less for headlines than for the families walking his lot, their trust hard-won. He glanced at a framed photo on his desk. Frank beside the old lot, grinning, a truck key in hand. Next to it, a plaque quoted Luke, "You gave us hope." Brennan's Trucks wasn't just a business. It was a cornerstone, and Wyatt felt its weight, steady and true. 2 months into the reforms, Brennan's Trucks was no longer just a dealership. It was a promise kept. Wyatt Brennan stood in the lot, now bustling with families for the first Community Appreciation Day. Bounce houses dotted the asphalt, music floated, and food trucks served free meals. The digital displays shone, but the real draw was the trust radiating from every handshake, every sale. Wyatt had launched a scholarship in the name of Luke Carver's daughter, Ellie, to fund college for customers' kids, a nod to Luke's fight and Frank's belief in giving back. Today, the scholarship's debut would seal the dealership's new chapter. Luke arrived with Ellie, a bright-eyed 18-year-old clutching college acceptance letters. "Mr. Brennan," Luke said, voice thick. "I never thought her name'd be on something like this." Wyatt smiled, shaking his hand. Ellie's future's worth it, Luke. So's yours. The ceremony began under a tent, Wyatt at a podium. The crowd a mix of staff, customers, and veterans who'd driven hours to support. "This isn't about trucks," he said, voice carrying. "It's about community, about doing right by the people who trust us. The Ellie Carver Scholarship is our pledge to you, to your kids, to a future built on honesty." Ellie took the stage, shy but beaming. "This means I can study nursing," she said, "and help people like you helped us." Applause roared, Luke's eyes glistening as he hugged her. Evan Walsh, now a confident advocate, worked the crowd, sharing refund stories, his guilt replaced by purpose. Emma Torres led tours, her team showcasing the pricing displays, their pride infectious. Caleb Reed mentored new hires nearby, his ethical sales mantra relationships, not transactions, taking root. A local reporter interviewed Wyatt, asking, "What's next?" "More," Wyatt said, firm. "More scholarships, more outreach, more trust. We're not just selling, we're building." The day hummed, kids laughing, parents browsing trucks without pressure. Luke approached Wyatt, Ellie at his side. "You didn't just give me a truck," he said. "You gave us hope." Wyatt nodded, Frank's voice in his ear. "Take care of your people." "You gave me a reason, Luke." As dusk settled, the lot glowed, trucks gleaming under string lights. Customers left with smiles, some with contracts, all with trust. The scholarship fund grew, donations pouring in from moved attendees. Wyatt watched, the weight of Vince's betrayal lifting, replaced by a vision of Brennan's trucks as a cornerstone, not a con. The community day wasn't an end, but a spark, and Wyatt knew the fire would spread for Ellie, for Frank, for every name etched in the dealerships. Newhart. The Arizona sun rose over Brennan's trucks, its lot a gleaming testament to a year of redemption. The showroom, once a stage for Vince Harper's deceit, now pulsed with purpose, its digital displays clarity, honesty, trust a beacon for customers seeking more than a deal. Wyatt Brennan stood at his desk on the floor, no longer a folding table, but a sturdy oak fixture, surrounded by sales staff who greeted him not as a boss, but as a partner. The air carried coffee and chatter, the lot's trucks shining not just with chrome, but with promises kept. Frank Brennan's legacy honesty is the foundation, breathed in every handshake, every contract, every smile. Wyatt flipped through a report. Refunds completed for 327 overcharged customers. $1.2 million returned. Trust restored, one call at a time. Evan Walsh, now Director of Customer Advocacy, had led the charge, his once guilty eyes bright with purpose as he trained staff to spot scams before they started. Emma Torres, Head of Community Outreach, had turned the dealership into a hub, her team hosting job fairs and vet drives, her warmth a bridge to those Vince had burned. Caleb Reed's ethical sales training was gospel, his classes packed with hires eager to sell relationships, not tricks. Luke Carver arrived, his delivery polo crisp, his daughter Ellie beside him, her nursing textbooks tucked under her arm. The Ellie Carver Scholarship had funded her first semester, and Luke's grin was brighter than the desert sun. "Mr. Brennan," he said, shaking Wyatt's hand, "Ellie's thriving. That scholarship, it's more than money. It's hope." Wyatt clasped his shoulder, voice warm. "You gave me a reason, Luke. You and Ellie reminded me why we're here." Ellie hugged him, shy but earnest. "I'm gonna help people like you helped us." The showroom hummed, customers browsing without pressure, staff like Evan and Emma moving with confidence. Caleb approached, a new hire trailing him. "Wyatt, this kid's got Frank's spark listens cares. We're building something real." Wyatt nodded, Frank's voice in his ear. "Take care of your people." A local business group had invited him to speak, eager for his story. Undercover owner cleans house, But Wyatt cared less for headlines than for the families walking his lot. Their trust hard-won. He glanced at a framed photo on his desk. Frank beside the old lot, grinning, a truck key in hand. Next to it, a plaque quoted Luke, "You gave us hope." Brennan's Trucks wasn't just a business. It was a cornerstone, and Wyatt felt its weight, steady and true. 6 months later, Brennan's Trucks stood as a model of ethical commerce, its reputation rippling beyond Arizona. Wyatt Brennan took the stage at a national business conference, the crowd a sea of suits and notepads, their eyes fixed on the man who turned scandal into standard. The lot's trucks, the scholarship, the transparent displays, Wyatt shared it all, his voice steady but humble. "Trust isn't a slogan," he said. "It's a choice, every deal, every day. We chose wrong once. Now we choose right for our customers, our community, ourselves." The applause was loud, but Wyatt's mind was on the showroom, where Evan Walsh now mentored advocates. Emma Torres planned a second Community Appreciation Day, and Caleb Reed's trainees closed deals with handshakes, not pressure. The Ellie Carver Scholarship had grown, funding 10 students, its donors inspired by Luke's story. Luke himself had become a quiet ambassador, hosting customer meetups, his delivery routes now driven in a truck that symbolized justice. A challenge lingered. A former Vince ally, now at Apex Autos, leaked doctored emails, claiming Wyatt had known of the fees. The smear hit social media, stirring doubt. Wyatt countered with transparency, releasing audited records and inviting reporters to the lot. Luke stood by him at a press conference, voice firm. "Wyatt didn't just fix my deal. He fixed trust. Don't let lies undo that." The crowd rallied, Apex's stunt backfiring as customers flooded Brennan's Trucks, drawn by Wyatt's candor. Emma's team fielded calls, her outreach now a playbook for other businesses. At the conference, Wyatt shared the smear's defeat, his words sharp. "Integrity isn't easy, but it's bulletproof. Build on truth, and nothing brings you down." Back at the lot, Wyatt found Luke organizing a vet drive, Ellie helping, her nursing scrubs a quiet badge. "You're building more than trucks here," Luke said, nodding to the bustling showroom. "You're building us." Wyatt smiled. Frank's lessons alive. A business is its people. The scholarship fund swelled. The community day loomed, and Wyatt felt the echoes. Frank's dream, Luke's hope, a dealership reborn. He wasn't done new lots, new programs, but the foundation was solid and would hold. Dusk settled over Brennan's Trucks, the lot aglow under string lights, its trucks a silent promise against the desert sky. Wyatt Brennan stood by the entrance. The clarity, honesty, trust sign a lighthouse for a community that believed again. The showroom buzzed, Evan Walsh guiding a customer through a contract, Emma Torres planning a youth mentorship, Caleb Reed laughing with trainees, Luke Carver chatting with a new buyer, his ease infectious. A year ago, Wyatt had parked a battered Ford Focus here, disguised, chasing a truth that nearly broke him. Now, he stood unmasked, the dealership's heart beating true. He walked to his office, smaller now, open to the floor. A new sign hung. "Trust is earned, one honest deal at a time." Beside it, Frank's photo sat, his grin eternal, and Luke's plaque. "You gave us hope." Wyatt traced the words, the weight of his journey settling Vince's betrayal, Luke's despair, the long climb back. He'd sought to save a business. He'd found a calling, to honor Frank's dream and build a legacy that lasted. Wyatt slipped. On a hoodie, a nod to his Undercover days. Another lot awaited, a new branch in Tucson, and he'd visit soon, maybe as Nate Sullivan, to test its pulse. Trust wasn't a plaque. It was a daily walk, and Wyatt would keep walking for Luke, for Ellie, for every customer who deserved a fair shake. The lot's lights flickered, the trucks gleaming, each a vow. No surprises, no regrets. As he locked up, Wyatt paused. The the desert breeze cool. Evan called out, "See you tomorrow, boss." Emma waved. Caleb nodded, and Luke's truck pulled out. Ellie in the passenger seat, waving back. Wyatt smiled, Frank's voice soft. "You did good, son." The dealership wasn't just steel and sales. It was a promise, and it would soar. Wyatt Brennan's story is a testament to humanity's capacity for redemption and trust. A dealership's betrayal, born of greed, was undone by one man's resolve to see people Luke's sacrifice. Evan's guilt, Emma's courage, not just profits. Wyatt's journey, from disguise to defiance, shows that integrity heals, binding communities. Two shared values. Luke's hope, Ellie's future, Caleb's return. They remind us that every choice to do right ripples, lifting those who've carried dreams through hardship. The lessons are clear. Trust is earned through action, not words. Mistakes owned. Honestly, forge stronger bonds. And a business thrives when it serves, not exploits. Wyatt's legacy trucks that carry trust. A scholarship that carries hope. Teaches us to build on truth, to see the human behind a deal, to choose courage over comfort. Crave stories that spark change and honor the heart? Subscribe to Legacy. Stories on YouTube, where tales of grit, redemption, and community light the road ahead. Join our journey. Hit that button, and let's keep the stories of trust and triumph alive.